Welcome back, everybody. We really appreciate this. We enjoy this, and we want to remind you, we just found out, Elizabeth Weiss told us that the free after 3 includes parking. So it is totally free except for whatever gas it takes you to get here.
Wow, that's a great deal.
Get here.
And you'll have plenty of time to walk around once you get here.
Oh, yeah.
It's really very warm in here. Nobody's wearing a jacket. Well, one guy's wearing a jacket.
Lucas is wearing a jacket. But
figured
it's a marketing piece.
Exactly.
There you go.
He felt he had to wear it.
There you go. Hey, if people didn't get a chance this week to check out the Inside Outside Guys article in the Detroit News Homestyle section, it was labeled
Strategic?
Thank you. Strategic deconstruction, correct?
Yes, sir.
Tell people why it was labeled that, Chuck.
Well, of course, we watch HGTV in all the
do.
waiting rooms around the country, and everybody's got a sledgehammer. Every project starts with a sledgehammer, and we don't necessarily agree with that philosophy, especially if we're going in and remodeling after that. So when we met Lucas from LBS Demolition, we immediately said to him, no, you are a strategic deconstructor. Does that make sense?
That's your new title.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And you were telling us about a project where you were deconstructing a chimney that was 32, 34 feet tall.
Yep. Yes, sir. In that
Brick
ballpark.
by brick.
Brick by brick.
Why?
Yep.
Why didn't you just knock it down with sledgehammers?
Well, there's a lot of factors that go in with that.
Yeah.
One, the customer had tile floors that they were keeping. So number one, you have to, of course, protect those floors. So laying down a floor protectant, taking it, like you said, brick by brick. You have to have a system where you're taking them out and very methodically, you're putting them into a can as opposed to just whack it with a sledgehammer, hope some of the bricks kind of fall in when you put the can in front of it, and kind of pray. So you can do that, but then you're going to cause a lot of damage
It's
elsewhere.
good TV if you blow it up, but that's not the way it's done.
Exactly.
Looks good on the social media site, but
Right. And we're there to do a good job for our customers, not necessarily get a ton of clicks and views.
So what all projects will your company do?
I think a better question is what projects won't we do?
Yeah, sometimes that is a better question.
What I like to tell folks all the time is we will take out a small piece of drywall all the way down to knock down the whole darn house and everything in between we
no
take care
job
of.
too big, no job too small. Is that it?
No, sir. We handle residential, commercial, all of it.
So there are a lot of properties out there, and unfortunately, older people that might not have a son or don't know how to get the equipment they need, where they have an
Or
old
daughter
shed,
that's
or
able.
daughter, they have an old shed back there that's just falling apart, or an old garage where the roof is, sagging, and you can come in and you can get rid of those for them, and then they'll have to worry about if they want to replace them is finding someone to replace them.
Exactly, yes, sir. And we run into that a lot where it's a shed or a disconnected garage or even sometimes a connected garage. And a lot of times people don't necessarily have plans to put something back, or they have plans to put something back but way later down the line. So as opposed to hiring a GC and then going through that whole process of doing it all wham bam all at once, sometimes people need to step things out stage for money, for financing, budgeting. So a lot of times in those situations, it's great for us to be able to take care of those sheds, those garages, all of that.
My son asked me just yesterday, because we had a house torn down near us. He said, "What's involved with that? Why is that a big issue? What all issues might attach to something like that?"
Right. Well, big things are making sure you're doing it right, right? So you obviously have water, electric, and gas going into a home.
Yeah.
So making sure all of those are properly taken care of and being cautious around those lines, because yes, they're off going into the home, but you still have it running from the road, right?
Yeah.
So making sure that that's all taken care of correctly, making sure you're imploding in the house, especially if it has a basement, making sure you're knocking the floor in, and because you can't track over that with a machine, you'll fall in. There's a whole lot of problems that come with that, and then you also have the pulling the permit to take the house down if you're taking the foundation, pulling the foundation out, having open hole inspection, and then actually filling the hole in, getting your final inspection.
Hazardous materials, possibly?
Exactly, yes. You can run into asbestos, you can run into lead paint. There's all kinds of factors that go into knocking a house down. It's not just come in with an excavator and just start munching stuff up,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more to it.
Well, we greatly recommend people go to the Homestyle section of the Detroit News and look at their article, Strategic Deconstruction, because it really is a skilled trade without a doubt. And then they'll learn more about your company if they go there. So thank you for coming out with us.
And they can come down here and see you guys. Now, how about the idea of preserving a home and keeping it comfortable?
And mold-free, right?
Okay, the list goes
We
on.
have a longtime friend sitting here with us, Bill Creed from Ace & Sons Insulation. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Thanks
Good
for
to see ya.
having me. Yeah, you too.
We communicate with Bill a lot. We really trust Bill and the company he represents because he doesn't just come in and pump insulation into a space in the home. You said you were on a job the other day where they had extensive humidity on the ceiling?
Well, more than one actually. When it's when the temperature gets way below 30 degrees and their humidity's cranked up, which was the case, then the windows start to sweat first, and then if you're getting moisture on the windows, most likely you're getting it in the attic, because the attics are poorly insulated in Michigan more often than not.
See, and we are getting so many of these emails over the last week about that issue right there. More humidity than anything else. And Bill, you are the expert. People go, insulation, why would he know a lot about humidity? But explain the relationship there, please.
Humidity, if it's cranked up inside the house, it's going to condense on the cold surfaces first, usually the windows or a corner closet, because there's no air circulation. And it's probably poorly insulated too. If it's, Michigan had some of the worst codes out of all 50 states for insulation-wise, so the cold and the heat don't play good together. So, it's going to condense. It's going to condense in the attic if it's not vented properly, which this was the case. It was a vaulted ceiling like we talked about earlier. It had recessed lights that were not insulated, and we came in with an infrared camera, and it just purple everywhere. It kind of lit up like a Christmas tree.
If it condenses in the attic, what other issues might attach?
Well, mold is the first concern. If it happens and it dries up really quickly, it's not always an issue. If we can get there and ventilate it and insulate it properly, a lot of times it takes care of that. First thing we tell them, though, is dial down the humidity if they can stand it. If you get moisture on the windows, try to dial it down or circulate the air with fans, or make sure the exhaust fans are vented out properly.
You mentioned that you're on an upper part of a hill. You do not have a lot of humidity in your house. Chuck agreed with that. He doesn't have a lot. I live right next to water, so I do have a lot of humidity in my house. So I have to have a dehumidifier in my house.
Yep.
But a lot of people really need to take a look at where that's cranked up or not at all. Like a lot of people you're talking about, just turn the humidity off if they can, right? And then see where
if you
it gets
can.
to.
If it gets too dry or the dog's hair standing on end, you can dial it up in very small increments. And it's kind of, the colder it is outside, the less we want to see that humidity. And it seems counterproductive because the furnace is running more, but a little bit of humidity, and you can't go by what the furnace says. The furnace sometimes has a recommendation on there. If it's 30 degrees outside, set it for this. Every house is different.
Right.
For one, they're all sealed or not sealed differently. They're insulated differently. And the amount of people and pets you have in there, the amount of showers and cooking that you're doing, it all makes all that humidity stays in. So you got to find a way to
Bill,
mitigate
two
it.
things. You guys like cellulose, but professionally installed cellulose in sidewalls and attics and the infrared post testing. Talk to that.
Well, we always come back, and there's foam on the market too, but it's a water-based product that always tends to shrink a little bit. So we like the cellulose, and it's not perfect.
Nothing is.
Right. So if it does settle inside a wall, we come back and we check it with an infrared camera, free of charge. Now the homeowners have to call to set that up, but they don't pay a penny for it. And if we find any issues with anything we did, we fix that at our cost.
Well, what we like to tell people all the time is comfort. How important comfort. People don't want to be too hot. They don't want to be too cold. They want to be comfortable in their home. And if they may be comfortable, but they don't realize that there's other stuff going on with the humidity. That's why we like Ace Insulation, because you will give them a pre and post report, will you not?
Right. Yes.
And I think the federal government's helping out today too, aren't they?
They're trying. Yeah.
I want to be cautious how I say that, but yes.
We always say it could change by the time I get in my car today, but yeah, it's a 30% tax credit on the material side right now.
Wow, that's great. Again, both of you, thank you for coming on with us today.
Thank you for having
Lucas
us.
from LBS Demo. Dad's back there making sure you do a good job with that. And again, thank you for taking such great care of our customers. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, again, as you heard Chuck said earlier, free after 3, which means totally free. Parking. Come on in, say hi, check out the Novi Home Show. It is nice and balmy in here. We'll be here for another hour of the Inside Outside, guys. Be sure to stick around.